Nature shows that with the growth of intelligence comes increased capacity for pain, and it is only with the highest degree of intelligence that suffering reaches its supreme point. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. The first 40 years of life give us the text, the next 30 supply the commentary on it. Wealth is like seawater, the more we drink, the thirstier we become, and the same is true of fame. Wicked thoughts and worthless efforts gradually set their mark on the face, especially the eyes. In the sphere of thought, absurdity and perversity remain the masters of the world, and their dominion is suspended only for brief periods. It's the niceties that make the difference. Fate gives us the hand, and we play the cards. The wise have always said the same things, and fools, who are the majority, have always done just the opposite. If you want to know your true opinion of someone, watch the effect produced in you by the first sight of a letter from him. Great minds are related to the brief span of time during which they live as great buildings are to a little square in which they stand. You cannot see them in all their magnitude because you are standing too close to them. The greatest achievements of the human mind are generally received with distrust. It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. Life swings like a pendulum backward and forward between pain and boredom. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. The majority of men are not capable of thinking, but only of believing, and are not accessible to reason, but only to authority. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. Talent hits a target no one else can hit, genius hits a target no one else can see. We seldom think of what we have but always of what we lack. Therefore, rather than grateful, we are bitter. Just remember, once you're over the hill you begin to pick up speed. A high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. Man is never happy, but spends his whole life in striving after something which he thinks will make him so. A man must have grown old and lived long in order to see how short life is. You are free to do what you want, but you are not free to want what you want. We can regard our life as a uselessly disturbing episode in the blissful repose of nothingness. Happiness belongs to those who are sufficient unto themselves. For all external sources of happiness and pleasure are, by their very nature, highly uncertain, precarious, ephemeral and subject to chance. The person who writes for fools is always sure of a large audience. If God made the world, I would not be that God, for the misery of the world would break my heart. The tallest oak tree once was an acorn that any pig could have swallowed. Compassion for animals is intimately associated with goodness of character, and it may be confidently asserted that he who is cruel to animals cannot be a good man. After your death you will be what you were before your birth. If we suspect that a man is lying, we should pretend to believe him, for then he becomes bold and assured, lies more vigorously, and is unmasked. Intellect is invisible to the man who has none. If we suspect that a man is lying, we should pretend to believe him, for then he becomes bold and assured, lies more vigorously, and is unmasked. Do not shorten the morning by getting up late, or waste it in unworthy occupations or in talk. Look upon it as the quintessence of life, as to a certain extent sacred. Evening is like old age, we are languid, talkative, silly. Each day is a little life, every waking and rising a little birth, every fresh morning a little youth, every going to rest and sleep a little death. The tallest oak tree once was an acorn that any pig could have swallowed. The fruits of Christianity were religious wars, butcheries, crusades, inquisitions, extermination of the natives of America, and the introduction of African slaves in their place.